My cousin tried to steal my multimillion-dollar inheritance, but my deceased grandmother had the last laugh. My grandmother, bless her soul, was a force of nature. She was a woman who had pulled herself up by her bootstraps, built a thriving business from the ground up, and accumulated a considerable fortune. She was also incredibly sharp, with a keen eye for character and a deep understanding of family dynamics. She knew exactly who in our family was genuine and who was just after her money. And unfortunately, my cousin, Bethany, fell squarely into the latter category from a young age. Bethany had always been the golden child in her immediate family, constantly praised and given everything she desired, even if it meant stepping on others. She had a sense of entitlement that was truly breathtaking. She believed the world owed her everything, and she wasn't shy about making that known. My grandmother, however, saw right through Bethany's charming facade. She always had a wary look in her eyes whenever Bethany was around, a silent assessment that spoke volumes. My grandmother and I, on the other hand, shared a special bond. I spent countless summers at her sprawling estate, learning about her business, her values, and her life experiences. She taught me about hard work, integrity, and the importance of giving back. She instilled in me a deep respect for money, not as an end in itself, but as a tool to create good in the world. When my grandmother passed away peacefully in her sleep at the age of 92, it was a profound loss for me. But even in her passing, she managed to create a final, dramatic spectacle that would forever alter the course of our family's future. The will reading was an event shrouded in a thick tension that you could almost taste. The entire extended family was present, all dressed in varying shades of black, but beneath the somber attire, you could feel the simmering anticipation. Everyone knew my grandmother was wealthy, and everyone, especially Bethany, was wondering just how much of that wealth would be coming their way. The lawyer, a stern man with spectacles perched on his nose, cleared his throat and began to read. There were bequests to various charities, to distant relatives, and even to some of my grandmother's longtime employees. Then came the significant portions. My aunt and uncle, Bethany's parents, received a comfortable sum, enough to ensure their financial security for the rest of their lives. Bethany, however, received a surprisingly modest amount, a sum that, while not insignificant to most, was clearly a pittance compared to what she had expected. I could see the color drain from her face, her jaw clench, and her eyes narrow in barely concealed fury. Then came my turn. The lawyer announced, in a clear, resonant voice, that I was to inherit the vast majority of my grandmother's estate, including her businesses, her properties, and her substantial investment portfolio. The total was in the tens of millions. A collective gasp rippled through the room. My aunt and uncle looked stunned, but Bethany looked like a volcano about to erupt. Her face was a mask of disbelief, then quickly twisted into pure rage. She launched into a tirade, accusing the lawyer of misreading the will, of foul play, of me manipulating my grandmother. It was an ugly scene, a spectacular display of entitlement and unbridled avarice. The lawyer, however, remained unruffled. He calmly explained that the will was ironclad, meticulously prepared, and had been updated only a few months prior to my grandmother's passing. He also revealed that my grandmother, in her infinite wisdom, had anticipated such a reaction from Bethany. A separate, sealed envelope was then produced, addressed specifically to Bethany. With trembling hands, Bethany tore it open. As she read the contents, her face cycled through a spectrum of emotions: shock, humiliation, and finally, a deep, burning resentment. The letter, as I later learned, was a masterpiece of passive-aggressive genius. My grandmother, in her elegant script, had detailed Bethany's various transgressions over the years. Her manipulative tendencies, her insincere flattery, her thinly veiled attempts to extract money and favors. She wrote about how Bethany had never truly cared for her as a person, only for her fortune. The letter concluded with a poignant statement about how my grandmother believed I was the only one in the family who truly understood and respected her values, and therefore, I was the most fitting heir to carry on her legacy. It was a brutal, public shaming, delivered from beyond the grave. The immediate aftermath was chaotic. Bethany stormed out of the lawyer's office, sobbing hysterically and vowing to contest the will. My aunt and uncle, mortified by their daughter's behavior, tried to apologize to me, but their words felt hollow. The rest of the family, previously divided in their opinions of Bethany, now exchanged knowing glances. My grandmother's final act had undeniably exposed Bethany for who she truly was. In the weeks that followed, Bethany did indeed try to contest the will. She hired a team of expensive lawyers, spinning elaborate tales of undue influence and my alleged manipulation of my elderly grandmother. It was a grueling, emotionally draining period. I spent countless hours with my own legal team, providing evidence of my strong, loving relationship with my grandmother and rebutting Bethany's baseless accusations. My grandmother's foresight, however, proved to be my greatest asset. She had meticulously documented everything, from her financial decisions to her reasons for choosing me as her primary heir. She had even included a clause in her will explicitly stating that if anyone challenged its validity, they would forfeit any existing bequests. This meant that if Bethany pursued her challenge and lost, she would lose even the modest sum my grandmother had originally left her. The legal battle dragged on for months, a constant source of stress and animosity within the family. Bethany became increasingly desperate, her tactics growing more aggressive and underhanded. She started spreading rumors about me, trying to paint me as a greedy opportunist who had taken advantage of my grandmother. She even tried to turn other family members against me, but my grandmother's letter had already done its work. Most of the family had witnessed Bethany's true colors and were now firmly on my side. They had seen how I genuinely grieved for my grandmother, and how I was determined to honor her wishes. One particularly nasty incident occurred when Bethany tried to leak false information to a local tabloid, hoping to tarnish my reputation and force me to settle. Thankfully, my legal team was quick to act, shutting down the story before it could gain traction and threatening Bethany with a defamation lawsuit. This seemed to be a turning point. The realization that her actions were not only futile but also potentially damaging to her own future seemed to finally sink in. As the legal costs mounted and her chances of success dwindled, Bethany's bravado began to crack. Her lawyers, seeing the writing on the wall, started to advise her to drop the case. The evidence against her was simply too overwhelming, and my grandmother's will was too robust. Finally, after almost a year of legal wrangling, Bethany capitulated. She withdrew her challenge, defeated and humiliated. She not only lost her legal battle but also forfeited the small inheritance my grandmother had originally left her, as per the will's clause. It was a hollow victory for her, but a complete vindication for me. The fallout from the inheritance drama extended far beyond the courtroom. The family was irrevocably fractured. Some members sided with Bethany, fueled by their own envy or a misguided sense of loyalty. Others, like me, were disgusted by her behavior and cut ties. My relationship with my aunt and uncle also became strained. While they apologized for Bethany's actions, their inability to truly reign in their daughter's entitlement over the years had contributed to the problem. I understood their position, but it was difficult to move past the hurt and betrayal. Despite the emotional toll, my grandmother's legacy became my guiding light. I immersed myself in her businesses, determined to continue her work and uphold her values. It wasn't just about the money, it was about honoring her memory. I learned the intricacies of her various ventures, modernized certain aspects, and expanded into new markets, always with her principles of integrity and hard work at the forefront. I also dedicated a significant portion of my time and resources to philanthropic endeavors, something my grandmother had always championed. I established a foundation in her name, supporting causes she believed in, and making a tangible difference in the community. Over the years, I heard snippets of information about Bethany. She struggled to find stable employment, her sense of entitlement and lack of work ethic making it difficult for her to hold down a job. She eventually alienated most of her remaining friends and even some of her own immediate family members. Her life became a series of missed opportunities and self-inflicted misfortunes. The golden child, who once believed she deserved everything, ended up with very little. My grandmother, in her wisdom, had not only left me a fortune but also a powerful lesson about character, integrity, and the consequences of unchecked greed. Her final act was a masterclass in discerning true worth, and a stark reminder that some things, like genuine love and respect, cannot be bought or stolen. The multimillion-dollar inheritance was certainly life-changing, but the true gift was the profound understanding of human nature and the unwavering conviction to live a life guided by purpose and values, just as my grandmother had intended. It was a bittersweet victory, but a victory nonetheless. And in a strange way, I felt my grandmother's presence, a quiet, knowing smile, as if she was watching it all unfold, entirely satisfied with her final, brilliant move. I knew, without a doubt, that she had indeed had the last laugh.